Hello and welcome to this segment of Loving Life. I'm Charlie Silva, board certified hypnotist and certified professional life coach. I've helped many people take back control of their life and achieve their goals by asking the following question. Loving life, are you loving yours? If so, wonderful. If not, why not? If there's something that is stopping you from loving your life, what is it? And let's find ways to overcome it. If you missed any previous segments of Loving Life, you can watch them online at the MTN18 website, mtn18.com. Now, as I've mentioned in previous segments of Loving Life, one of my favorite websites filled with wonderful, empowering information is www.zenhabits.net. This website is updated regularly by Leo Babauta. Leo is a blogger and author. He created Zen Habits and wrote the best-selling books Focus, The Power of Less, and Zen to Done. He's a former journalist and started Zen Habits to chronicle and share what he's learned while changing a number of habits that he considered to be negative. Habits such as smoking, overeating, and procrastinating. Now, in this segment of Loving Life, we'll focus on how Leo maintains, and I agree, that fear is at the root of all our problems. Every problem you or I have, and there are many, small and large, is rooted in fear. Now, for some people, that might not seem obvious. I'm sure you know people who claim that they're afraid of nothing. However, anytime you feel any emotion that is not positive, emotions such as anger, frustration, guilt, sadness, for example, fear is at the core of that emotion. Now, if you take time to truly examine why you may be feeling that particular negative emotion, you will always find that it all leads back to some fear. It may not be so self-evident to most people. You may be asking yourself, why are my financial or relationship or procrastination problems caused by fear? And how can I beat the fear and improve my life? Well, let's tackle both questions, the why and the how. First, the why. Think about each problem you have, and then think about why you have the problem, or why it may seem you aren't able to solve it. A few examples. Procrastination. You probably fear failure, or the discomfort of doing something you may believe may be difficult, or you fear missing out on something important while you're doing something else. This may be why you take the time to do what you perceive as easy things, like check email and social media, instead of doing what you perceive is the difficult task. What about debt? How is fear at the root of debt? Well, there are many possible causes, but often you're spending more than you make because of a shopping habit or a fear of letting go of some of the comforts you're used to. The shopping habit might be caused by fear that something you want isn't going to happen, so that translates into you buying whatever you believe you want before it isn't available. Or loneliness, which you feel because you actually fear that you're not good enough to have people around you. Or wanting your life to be better than it is, because you fear that you're not okay just the way you are. Letting go of comforts, like your morning Starbucks or your nice house or car, can be difficult if you fear discomfort. Fear that you won't be okay if your life is less comfortable. Fear that others will judge you if your house or car or clothes aren't as nice as theirs. And what about relationship problems? How is fear related to that? Well, there are obviously lots of possible causes, including that the other person has major problems, though you should always look at yourself as well. But some fears that cause relationship problems include fear of letting go of control, which causes you to want to control the other person. Fear that you're not good enough to be around this other person. Fear of abandonment and other trust issues. And fear of not being accepted. Can't exercise? Again, lots of causes, but some of them include the feeling that there isn't enough time in the day to exercise, which may actually be as a result of the fear of letting go of something else that you're used to doing. The belief that exercise is too difficult, which is typically the fear of discomfort, and giving in to distractions like TV and the internet, which is due to the fear of missing out, or fear of discomfort. You aren't doing the work you love? Well, maybe you don't know what you truly want to do, which means you haven't committed to really exploring your options, which is due typically to the fear of failing. Or you know what you truly want to do, but haven't taken the plunge due to a fear of failure or fear that you're not good enough. Stressed about work or school? You may have lots to do, but the amount isn't the problem. The problem is you're worried about getting it all done, which usually means you have an ideal result that you believe you must achieve. You know, the feeling that I'm going to get it all done on time and it'll be done perfectly. And you fear that this ideal won't come true. So the fear is based on an ideal, but the ideal may not be realistic given the current situation. You won't get it all done perfectly and on time every time. No one does. So accept the reality that you'll get some done to the best of your ability. And if you fail, you'll learn from that. And that's how the world works. None of us is perfect, and so on. All other problems are some manifestation of what's going on in these examples. Fear of failure, fear of not being good enough, fear of letting go of control, fear of being alone, fear of abandonment, fear of discomfort, fear of missing out, fear that you're not okay as you are, or your life isn't okay as it is, fear that some ideal won't come true. And these all boil down to the same fear. Fear that you won't be okay because you're not good enough. A lack of trust in yourself and in the present moment. So what do we do about it? Well, Leo originally titled his blog, How to Conquer the Fear. But as he notes, this is the problem. We see fear as an enemy to be defeated, or it will defeat us. Well, surprisingly, fear is not an enemy. Fear is us. We are human beings in a world of constant change, and change can be scary. We're afraid that we won't be okay in the chaos of change, that we'll fail, that we'll be judged, that life won't turn out okay. The fear is a part of us, and therefore, we shouldn't try to destroy it. It can't be destroyed, because while we can dissipate one particular fear in one particular moment, we'll still have other fears after that, all our lives. It's not something that can be eradicated. It's a basic part of life. So what can you do? Well, first and foremost, you can be aware of the fear. When you're struggling, suffering in some way, be aware that fear is stopping you. Look into what the fear might be. When you're aware of something, you can choose to do something about it. Then you can accept the fear. Don't feel bad about it. Don't try to crush it. Don't wish it weren't there. It's a part of you. It's a part of life. Accept it. Because once you accept it, you can see how the fear is hurting you, and see how that hurt is self-caused. How you can let go of the suffering by letting go of the fear. You can think rationally about the fear. Actually, give it a little space and consider it. What's the worst case scenario? Would you basically be okay? The answer to that question is almost invariably yes. Maybe life wouldn't meet your ideal, but you'd find a way and be okay. You can choose to be grateful for who you are and what life actually is, as opposed to what it's not or what you're not. Appreciate yourself and others and life at this moment. You can be grateful for the opportunities that this moment has brought rather than fearing the change it represents. For example, you can choose to view a loss as an opportunity for reinvention. You can choose to view doing something difficult as an opportunity to create and do good in the world. And you can choose to view any change as an opportunity for learning and growth. You can return to this moment and see that it is perfectly fine as it is. It doesn't need to be an ideal all of the time. If there is no ideal, then you're seeing this actual moment and accepting it for what it is. If there's no ideal, there's no fear. If you don't have an ideal of some kind of success, you don't fear failure. If you don't have an ideal of what you should be, you don't fear that you're not good enough. If you don't have an ideal of what someone else should be, we don't get angry at them. Now, this is a process of awareness, acceptance, seeing the pain, finding the gratitude, and being in the moment without an ideal. And it can be done. And then, soon after, another fear may appear. And you can practice this process again. With this practice, you can work with any fear that's causing your challenges. You can accept the fear without letting it stop you, because you are alleviating your own suffering. This practice is an act of self-compassion. And as you know, hypnosis is a wonderful tool to help you make the changes that will enable you to reprogram your subconscious programming to easily deal with your fears and experience a positive, wonderful life. Now be sure to check my website for upcoming Take Back Control of Your Life workshops. The workshops are free of charge. If you have goals you'd like to achieve but have been unable to do so, attending one of my workshops may be all you need to take back control of your life. Well, I'm sure I've given you some things, positive things, to think about. Send any questions or comments you have to me at charlie@mtn18.com, and I'll answer them in future segments of Loving Life. I'm Charlie Silva, and I'm asking you, loving life, are you loving yours? If so, wonderful. If not, why not? If there's something that is stopping you from loving your life, what is it? And let's find ways to overcome it. Always remember that you are awesome. Have a wonderful day filled with love and gratitude.